All right, so Emily, with 1:20 to go now before the event final, what did you glean off of those interviews? Are we looking at a match race between Outeridge and Slingsby, and the Great Dane's going to slide in there and take the win?
No, I think we're going to have a three-way battle. It's easy to sell the Dane short because he doesn't come from the same Olympic background as these two, but he has heaps of experience. Both him and Tom Johnson have 2 laps of the planet under their belt. And I'll tell you what, it's not easy driving in the Southern Ocean, so I think Slingsby and Outeridge have their hands full dealing with him as well.
All right, final 50 seconds of preparation. Stevie, what's being talked about on the boat? And they've already made up their strategy of where they're going to want to be.
Totally different game now. There's a lot more space out here on the start line. We can already see the boats a lot further apart. I like the fact that Tom Slingsby was the last boat back and he's leading the fleet here. The rest of the day he's been behind the boats. He's been the one trying to find an opportunity, whereas now he's in control. But how's this battle going to work out? It is aggressive out here. They're all saying they're close to the top of the line. That means advantage Outeridge and New Zealand for me here. But it's all about hitting that red line. Down towards the bottom end of our screen is where our data tells us is the favourite place to start, and it's all about acceleration. Denmark look like they're going to be trapped out. They're going to miss the start here. Slingsby slut the door on him at the top, but it's all about the acceleration. Australia are going to be so. Denmark are slow. Who's going to be on time? Oh, I think New Zealand are over early as well. Oh, what a start. What a mistake by all of the crews. What a mistake there. Australia early, New Zealand early. Denmark will lead at Mark 1. Oh, a huge error there. Now, how did Denmark play this? They're going to want to make sure they get to Mark 1 at top speed. No rush for Sehested here. No rush. Get the boat sailing fast and now send it down towards Mark 1 hard. It's going to be advantage Sehested when we get to Mark 1. He needs to get past New Zealand before New Zealand are clear to go. Australia are clear. They're out behind now. New Zealand are clear. We're up and racing with 3 boats as they come into Mark 1.
At mark number 1, it is the Great Dane and Rockwell, Denmark that take the lead. Pre-start penalties issued to the Kiwis and the Aussies.
Oh, they said they were hungry for a bit of risk. All 3 of them had way too much risk for breakfast on that start line, that is for sure. But now, advantage Sehested. Perfect first manoeuvre. He'll be lined up for this bottom gate, and it's all about the decision. Do you turn left or do you turn right at gate number 2?
There is no room for error out there. All 3 teams doing over 60 kilometers an hour, but these maneuvers are crucial. Look how close these teams are.
Full 7 legs here, the event final at the KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix in Sydney Harbour, and Denmark is gifted the lead at mark number 1. Now, can there be some overtaking, or can the Great Dane run away from the Kiwis and the Aussies?
Well, Denmark have got the first choice, and they're going to save a manoeuvre by going straight here. New Zealand and Australia are probably going to split away right. It's advantage for Australia. This is a tricky situation for New Zealand now. They're going to be following the Aussies. And well, Denmark, expect them to head back towards the other 2 boats fairly soon, but it's advantage Denmark. That's a big lead at the bottom gate, and traditionally that left turn has done pretty well here as New Zealand already come back towards this side of the course, and all the boats are trying to find their own clear wind.
It's a good moment here for the Danish. The breeze is slightly lighter on the top half of the screen, but only just.
Well, our ladder lines here, Todd, are showing actually a lead change in advantage Australia now. When they turn the boat here and head back across towards Denmark, the right of way is with the Danish, but it appears to be a gain early on the leg for the Aussies. But will it play out that way? Denmark's looked pretty fast there. Raz pushing the ride height really hard on board that Danish boat. They are ahead, but it's only very marginal, and there's plenty of race left here.
Leg 3 of 7, Denmark out in front as we go down on the water. Lisa Darmanin, in your unbiased opinion, whose position do you like the most?
I do like where Denmark is headed. That has traditionally been the right way to go. But, you know, there's so much going on here, boat-on-boat situations. New Zealand and Australia are in a battle here, but I think this is going to favour Denmark.
I think what I'm seeing is I'm seeing a few mistakes actually out there. There's definitely no one sailing the boat perfectly cleanly just yet. There's a nice lead for Sehested here. No surprise to say the Aussies aren't going away. Right of way is with Australia here. If it's tight, Sir Hested needs to be confident he's ahead. Catch her down there. She's just coming up. She was watching the Australian boat to make sure that all's clear, and they are clear. So as we head up this leg, it's going to stay tight for the Australians right now. Stay in the match. Keep breathing down the neck of that Danish crew. Denmark have never won a final. They're going to feel that pressure, and the Aussies are going to keep plying it.
And at the moment, the Danish team do have the highest average speed, 51.1 kilometers an hour average, but that's only 1 km an hour faster than the Australians behind them.
Denmark are heading towards less wind up there. That water, look how glassy it looks up there compared to where Australia are. I think Slingsby's in better wind, and he's going to be on the inside coming into the gate at the top here. We know there's only going to be meters in it, but I feel like Denmark have put a lot of risk on themselves at the moment.
Maybe we can tack inside them, can't we? Go have a look.
You can, Tom. You can tack inside. It's going to be tight here. Tom's looking to set up for the left turn. The left turn's been favoured here. Watch for the Aussies to sling inside, and it's Slingsby. He's pushing it hard. He's got to manoeuvre out the Danish way here. That's really close. Maybe too close. Oh, that was really tight. What judgment by Slingsby. It's clear. No penalty there from the Australians. They judged that to perfection. What a move.
So Australia looking for their first win in Season 4. Will it come on home waters? It's Australia, Denmark, and New Zealand as they make their way through gate number 3.
The Danish just looked a little bit wobbly down there. It's really close. Now they're locked in. Now they're the hunter. Maybe a position Sir Hested's happier with here. But as we get towards the boundary here, Denmark, if they can get themselves inside, they might be able to force the Aussies to move first. And they do. Slingsby has to jibe away. He's turning the boat away from Denmark first. And Denmark are pushing as wide as possible on the racetrack. They want to try and make the next gate with no more manoeuvres.
So it's down to the bottom of the course, back up around Genesis Island, then halfway back down, and then it'll be the sprint to the finish and the title.
Yeah, and right now, where Slingsby's positioned himself, the wind's coming from the top left-hand corner of our screen, and Slingsby's going to slowly press the disturbed wind down onto the Danish, and if he can just move forward maybe 3 or 4 more meters, he'll start to really affect the breeze getting to the Danish.
This is just a moment ago. This was the mark where Chief Umpire Craig Mitchell did not penalize the Australians.
And they were comfy there. You can see there was probably a couple of meters in it. It was tight, but well, it should be tight, shouldn't it? It's supposed to be tight, it's supposed to be close, and Slingsby saw an opportunity and he bit their hand off for it. Look at that judgment on board the boat. As we see it, bottom right-hand corner of our screen, it's the Australians turning up to the upwind leg.
And we'll see if that turns out to be the move of the match. It's the Danes and the Australians splitting the course here. We'll see what Nathan Outridge and the Kiwis decide to do.
Look at that, 0 seconds in it at gate 4 as we're on the final upwind leg of the race. This will be decisive. Who's found the most wind at the bottom of the course?
Now we do have a flip-flop here from the previous bottom gate, with now the Danish going the left-hand side of the course, which did pay for the Australians on the previous.
Rockwool, Denmark, currently sitting in second place on the water. Australia out in front. Remember, this all started after pre-start penalties were issued to Australia and New Zealand, and the great Dane Nikolai Sandstedt took advantage of it. Now he's in for the fight of his life as he goes head-to-head with Tom Slingsby.
Big mistake there. They turned too close to that red and white marker, and they had to do a slow manoeuvre. They're some 15 kilometres slower out of that, and look at that 100-metre loss in the blink of an eye. Unforced error. That's going to be costly for the Danish, and that could well hand the victory here to the hometown hero, Tom Slingsby. Just so much less pressure on the Aussies now. It was tight on that upwind leg before. There was nothing here, but look at the fans there. Plenty of the locals wanting that, and right now Denmark, well, they're now fighting to hold on to second from New Zealand. One mistake and you get absolutely hammered for it.
Is there time for Denmark and New Zealand to catch the Roos, Stevie, or is this going to be a situation where they're going to have to rely on a Tom Slingsby mistake?
It's absolutely that. This is now it's only if the Australians make a mistake that they lose this from here. They've got total control. We know to the left-hand side of our screen there's better wind.
I wonder if we have to go back.
Yeah, there you go. Carl Langford wants to watch the boats behind. Slingsby's happy to split. Decision, slight disagreement there on board the Australian boat. But there you go. New Zealand starts to follow Australia. And what are Denmark going to do?
And turning.
So New Zealand makes the turn. Denmark now makes the turn as they all head to this last gate here at the top of the course. Lisa Darmanin, what are you seeing? What do you think is going to happen here in the final portions of this race?
I think it's quite tricky decision for Australia because they are going into lighter pressure compared to their competitors, but this means that they just do one turn and that they can head to that mark and they got one more dive to the finish. So it was really balancing pressure maneuvers, but compared to Denmark on the last lap, they've managed to have a really nice smooth ride through that light patch and stay on the foil. So I think they will have the commanding lead at the top here.
Look at this, here comes Denmark.
It's really tight, right of way with Australia, but if Denmark can get close to that circle, Sehested might have the opportunity to do exactly what Tom Slingsby did to him. Is Denmark going to try and sling it inside? No, he's not. He deems Australia to be too far ahead. There's going to be a split, but big advantage to the Australians as Nikolai Sehested chooses to follow. He yields. Oh, it's so tight though, Todd, here. Any mistake now, this is a one-mistake race. If Australia misses the next manoeuvre.
I'm crossing. Yeah, my wheel.
So was it checkmate for the Australians with one more to go? It'll be the Mark 6, and they'll make the sprint for the finish line.
And we just got to make sure they don't go inside us.
Trying to protect that inside line.
Little build.
They've just got to make sure they keep the speed in, and they've got to judge the line to this final turning mark. As we see there, Mark 6, they've got to make sure they can do that. Will Sehested try and dive inside? I don't think Australia are going to make a mistake here. There you go, no, perfect from them. Carl Langford's happy with it, and he's putting that disturbed wind back onto Denmark. I don't see any passing lane from here, but what a comeback by Rockwool Denmark.
So now the sprint is on for the finish line in the title at the KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix Sydney, and it's Australia by a full boat length. They have finished in second, third, second, third, second, and seventh. But here on home waters, Tom Slingsby works his magic. Hocus pocus, Australia takes the win in Sydney.
Oh.
And the party begins on Genesis Island. Denmark finishes in second. New Zealand will take third.
Never in doubt, never in doubt. Well, that was a messy old start. What a race we had there. There was a lot of tension in that pre-start, a lot of mistakes during the race. But when it counts, Tom Slingsby and those Australians have got it done.